Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rising Giant Incredible Journeys Behind podcast. Today, with me is another very special guest. She is a great footballer. She played for some of the best clubs in not just women's but also men's football. She is Finnish international, and she is my teammate. Adelina Engman, thank you for coming. Thank you for saying yes.
Thank you for having me. Fun. My first podcast ever. So I'm really excited.
Well, thank you for saying yes. You're my first Finnish player here on the podcast, so I'm very grateful that I can now add another country to the list of all the people that came to the podcast. All right, so let's start with the beginnings. Why did you decide to play football? When you started, what was your first experience?
Yeah, so I'm actually from like a small island in Finland. So I started playing there, obviously, and I started playing with boys. I think I was 6 years old. So it was actually just, we got a note to the school paper somewhere, and do you want to start to play football? And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And no one in my family has really played football in any team or anything like that. My dad is really interested in football, but he's from like an even smaller island. So he never had the opportunity to play in any football team. But then I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And then for a long time, I was the only girl playing there. But yeah, I loved to play from the first minute. And I really loved also to just play on my own time. Like every day when I got home from school, I was just out there kicking the ball. So I think I fell in love with football, like really from the first second, actually.
So you're saying pretty much also outside of the trainings, you were hanging out with the boys. I'm assuming there was no girls at that time who wanted to join.
Yeah, if I think back now, there's only like a few of my girl friends that have played football from home. So most of my girlfriends from school were not playing, so I obviously played only with the boys team. I think it was maybe 5 or 6 years I only played with boys until I was maybe 10, 11 or something. And but I also played a lot by myself actually, like after school. Just went home, my dad, like he built this, I don't know what you call it in English, but like kind of like a goal, but like a wall kind of. So I was just kicking there every day after school. So it was really, I just also love to train by myself to get even better at some things. I think I was really stubborn, from the beginning when I was really young. So always love to get better.
Yeah, that reminds me whenever I was a kid, and I don't see that often, especially not anymore. We had a wall like in the middle of there were many football pitches, and there was a wall with the numbers on it. And obviously, we were hanging out there all the time.
Yeah.
So you said your dad built everything for you, which means you were probably very supported from the young age, especially, where I'm coming from, the mentality of the people was not very supportive towards women's football. I was very lucky because my friends and my family, they were very supportive. But in general, in Slovenia, even now, women's football is still mostly for men's. How was that in Finland?
Yeah, of course, my family was really like supportive all the time. They have been throughout my whole career, I would say, like coming with me to every country where I played and helped me like with moving and stuff like that. So they have been really helpful. But I would say, yeah, I feel like people are supporting like women's football, but still there's so much money missing and like the resources are still bad. And I think maybe like in Finland overall, like the men's league is not so big either. So I feel like overall the interest is maybe not that big in football still in Finland. But I think it's getting better all the time, I would say. But I still think that people were supporting me when I wanted to play. Like it was nothing like, oh, you're a girl, you shouldn't play. Like I've never felt that. It's always been like, yeah, just go for it. At least that's what they have told me, because I was like from my very young age, I was like, oh, I want to be a professional footballer. But at that time, I felt like there wasn't that many role models that you could look up to. It was more like male footballers, and all my favorite players were also like male footballers. But I still kind of had this dream from a really young age that I want to, just play football, like have that as my job.
You were talking about not having role models when it comes to women's football, but you still felt like you can become a professional footballer. You said that was your dream. Do you think that you were just kind of ahead of time, or you just had a good imagination, or how come? Because a lot of time people, when they don't see that something can be done, they just don't believe it. What do you think? Like, you were just, pure kid who just wants to pursue the dreams that maybe, like in theory are impossible.
Yeah, I don't know really. I was like, because I was playing with boys also, so I was like, oh, okay, but then I have to play, like, be a professional football player with the boys. I don't know, like, I wasn't even thinking so much. I think I was just like, okay, if they can do it, I can also do it, kind of.
Yeah,
I felt like I wasn't thinking like, really, is it really possible? That was really my dream, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go for it.
And how crazy is that? Then people grow up, we all grow up, and then you just you start to be in your head more than in your heart, because as a kid you are purely in your heart and you don't care what's possible or what is not possible. Like you said, you just go with the flow and you just believe that everything is possible. We just said that, when we grow up, most of the time people are just like, oh, I can't do that. Which is, it's magic if you can just go back and be in that kid energy a lot of time also whenever you are older. Okay, so you said you wanted to be a professional football player, and in Finland, was that a possibility at that time for women? At some point, you probably switched from men's teams to the women's. When did that happen? And did you have that possibility in Finland already, or did you have to go outside, abroad?
Yes, I was actually quite lucky because from the small island where I'm from, it's only like 30,000 people living there. But we had like both a male and a female team in the highest league in Finland. And the female team was actually, I think it was the most professional in the whole country. So I was really lucky there. And I started playing with them already when I was 13 years old. So then, yeah, I had the possibility to play with almost a professional team, like from a very young age. And of course, like the salaries weren't great, but I felt like at least some people were like completely professional. They could live out of it. And yeah, of course, they probably weren't saving that much money, but at least they could put their everything into football, kind of. So I think I was lucky in that way that we had that opportunity on the island, because there weren't many girls playing like in my age. So like I also played with the girls team like my age for maybe 5 years. I did it like besides the boys team for a few years, and like we weren't that good, so that's why I went to the like women's team already at that young age. And I think that gave me a lot to be able to play against the best players in like the country. For a long time. I think I played in the Finnish league for 7 years, 7 seasons before I moved to Sweden. So I was doing high school at the same time, and then I stayed for 1 more year after high school. So for me, I was still living at home with my parents, except for the last year I moved to a new own apartment. But like I didn't make a lot of money, like a little bit, but at least something the girls got from the team. So
I have a few friends who played for that team. Holland?
Yes, Holland. No? Yes.
Yeah, I remember whenever I was in Denmark in Fortuna Hjørring.
Yeah.
Some of the girls who played with me there played in that Finnish team.
Yeah, that's
before.
True.
That's true. Why I've heard of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I obviously I was never there.
No.
As a player. So you said you were 13 whenever you went to play with the women's team. Was that because of you already mentioned a little bit that the men's team was not as good, but was it a rule that you're not allowed to play with men's anymore, or you just chose on your own that you want to go with the women's team?
I'm actually not sure if it was a rule or not, but I think I quit with the boys when I think it was maybe 12 or 11 or something. And then I think I might have played only with the girls team for maybe 1 year. So that was, girls of my age. I'm not sure if there was a rule, but then I started training with the women's team quite early, and then they wanted me like there even for games. So then it was just an easy decision actually to make. So I think maybe the first season I also played, we had another women's team in like a little bit lower division. So I also played some games with them for the first year. But after that, I think I was only with the women's team in the highest league. So.
And then after that, you went to Sweden. How did that happen? Did you have an agent, or did the team from Sweden saw you somewhere?
Yeah, actually, no, I didn't have an agent at that point. So it was just like me, myself, and I looking for teams. But actually, I knew quite early that I wanted to go to Gothenburg. Like I always thought that it was a nice city, so I was like, okay, I want to go there. And then actually another girl from Åland played there, Dominika Čonč. She played for the Finnish national team also. So she played there, and they had a coach that also had some connections to Åland. Like he used to be there during summer, so he knew me. And then, like we started talking, and then they were really interested in having me. So then it felt like an easy decision. I also talked to some other clubs in Sweden, but I always knew that I wanted to go to Gothenburg if they would have been interested, and they were. So that was really nice actually.
Okay, I wanted to take a minute and acknowledge a sponsor of this episode. Go for Goal are high-performance grip socks made of quality, eco-friendly materials, and they provide me with comfort and stability on the pitch. I really recommend them. I've been using them for many years now, and I'm very grateful for their support of the podcast as well. So go out there, buy your own, try them on, and again, Go for Goal. Thank you for sponsoring the episode. Was that a pretty big jump? Because I feel like Swedish league traditionally is one of the best leagues in Europe, or at least it was.
Yeah.
I think it's still pretty good league. How was that, the jump between your league in Finland and then going to Sweden, and also being away from home?
Yeah, it was a big jump, I would say. Like I had some really good seasons in Finland. I was almost every year one of the top scorers. So then I was like, oh, it's gonna be easy to move there. But then, like at that point, the Swedish league was really good, and Gothenburg also had some great players like Lieke Martens and Daniel van der Donk, and so they had some really good players. So I was like, yeah, no problem. But then my first season, of course, it was a bit up and down. Like I maybe started half of the games and came on as a sub half of the game. So it was still like an okay first season, but I was used to like play every minute of every game. So it was still like a big change. But I think I grew a lot during that year. And after that season, I felt like it just got easier every year that I had adapted to the league. But it was definitely like a big change, because I used to play as a forward when I was younger all the time. So I was used to like score every game, and like, in the Finnish league, I felt like the defenders were maybe not as good as they were in Sweden. So it was so easy to just run through. Like I've always been fast, so someone just played the ball through, and I was alone with the keeper, and that didn't happen as easily when I moved to Sweden. So of course it was a big change, but it took maybe 1 year to adapt, I would say. And after that, I felt like it was, starting to get easier, that I had adapted to that league also.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times that happen also for example, with girls from Slovenia who go out in the better leagues, and at home they're used to be, stars, everything like evolves around them. They're used to playing all the time, and they go abroad and wow. Shock, you're not playing anymore all the time.
Exactly.
You're not the center of the attention, and I think that's the biggest struggle that happens. Also, next to obviously missing the family. How was that? I mean, Sweden is still pretty close to Finland.
Yeah.
But how was that? Did you miss your family? Were you homesick? Whenever I went to USA, I cried for 6 months straight every night. Obviously, it's a little bit further, but
I think it was actually quite okay step for me. Since I've always been speaking Swedish at home, So it's like my first language. So it was easy with language. And then quite many of my friends from Åland actually moved to Gothenburg at the same time to study there. So I still had some friends from home there also. So I felt like the step was still quite easy. And I also moved away from my parents' house like 1 year before I moved to Sweden. So I had an own apartment, as I said, for 1 year. And I think that also helped. Like, so then like cooking and stuff like that, I was already a little bit used to that. And of course, the family was further away. But yeah, I think it was actually quite easy to step. So I think that was good to like first move away for 1 year, but still be close and then go further away, kind of.
It was a lot more gradual than
Yeah,
whatever I did.
Exactly, definitely.
Okay, so after that, Chelsea happened. How did that happen?
Yeah, that was actually a bit surprising. I was just, I didn't have an agent at that point either. And yeah, we had like a really bad season with Gothenburg. Like I think our both goalkeepers were injured. So we didn't have any goalkeepers. We were conceding so many goals. At one point, we were like one of the last teams in the league. And then the new season started. And yeah, we had got a few players. And then I think it was because the season there starts in like January. So it's a bit different than Europe. But I think it was already in February, like 2 agents contacted me one day and they were like, oh, we have a club that's really interested in you. I think you could be interested in this. And I was like, oh, okay, what's this? And then, yeah, they told me that it was Chelsea that were interested. And I was like, what? Oh my God, that's so cool. So then, yeah, we were like negotiating for like, I think 4 or 5 months until the summer transfer window. And then, yeah, we were doing really great also with Gothenburg at that point. I think we were actually first in the league at that point. So it was a little bit like, oh, do I want to leave in the middle of the season? But then I just felt like, oh, I can't say no to this opportunity. So yeah, it was really cool, actually. It was a fun step to take and like to experience the English league and also like, yeah, at that point at least the best club in England. So it was really cool. Nice experience.
I mean, it still is one of the
Yeah,
best clubs,
exactly,
not just in
definitely.
England, but
definitely.
in the world, probably.
Yeah, I feel like they have been doing really great for so many years. So they definitely do something right at that club.
I feel like that was the beginning of that Chelsea era and Emma
Yeah.
Hayes. Actually, we had a friendly at that time. Maybe you were there. I don't remember. That's
Maybe.
so many years ago. You were, Chelsea was in Algarve. And they just had a pre-season kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And we, is with the Fortuna Joring, we did the same. And we had a friendly game
Yeah.
there. So we played against them at that time, and they were already, a top team.
Yeah.
And they were just on the beginning.
Yeah.
So how was that? You were there for 2 years. How was that
Yeah.
experience? What the difference between that club and everything else that you've experienced?
Yeah, obviously it was a huge difference from Sweden. Like the amount of people working around the club was just like massive, and we were training at the same training ground as the academy and the men, so everyone is at the same place. And just there was so many fields, like maybe 30 fields for the whole club to use, and all of them were perfect. And just the staff members, like for example, when we were traveling to an away game, we sometimes had maybe 30 staff members and 23 players.
You needed 2 buses.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it was just crazy because I was used to the Swedish league, and we had maybe 5 people traveling with us to an away game, if even that. Like, so yeah, it was such a big difference, and like so professional, everything, like also around the club. And then I was injured quite a lot there, so that wasn't great, of course. But also the help I got when I was injured was so much better. So it was definitely like the right place to get injured in that sense. But of course, I would have loved to play a little bit more and not being injured so much there. But yeah.
How were the girls? Your teammates.
Yeah.
It's a highly competitive environment. Probably a lot of egos. How do you move in that kind of a team?
Yeah. I actually thought the same when I moved there. I was like, oh God, this is going to be like so competitive, because we had, probably a squad of 25 players or something, and everyone was great players. So I thought that this is going to be crazy because only 11 players are playing. But I think like the environment in the team was so good and supportive, and probably it also helped because we played in so many different competitions, like Champions League and 2 cups and the league. So yeah, we usually had like 2 games a week most of the times, and then I felt like all players got to play at some point. Like maybe you weren't playing in like the against the best clubs or whatever, but then you could play the next game against a worse club because all the players still had such a good standard, so we still could win. Like even if the best players weren't playing like every game. So I felt like that also helped. But yeah, it was so like a really supportive environment. I was really surprised actually about that. So yeah, that was a nice surprise, I would say, definitely.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Also, the teams that are not considered the best in English league are still very good teams.
Yeah, yeah,
so you
definitely.
still have very good games.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like
Yeah,
even
yeah.
if you're not playing the top games or
Yeah.
the Champions League games,
Yeah,
which is great.
Exactly.
So there's not many good or even there are not many great coaches out there. How was playing under Emma?
yeah. I think she's such like a
She's an icon in
yeah,
women's
definitely.
football.
Like yeah, she's such a good leader, I would say. Like so good at speaking, and she gets everyone with her, I would say. Like yeah, she's like so good at just getting people listening to her and like inspiring. And also I would say she cares about the person, like not just the player. And I think that's really important also to get to know the people, like the players as persons and not just as players. So she's really good at that also. And I also think she's quite brave, I would say. Like she's not scared of making 2 substitutions at 35 minutes if she has to, like, to change the game if she thinks that's necessary. So yeah, I think she's a really good leader. Like I feel like if you have to be able to handle the whole, like everything, not just being good at the tactical part or whatever. You need to also be able to speak to the people and inspire them, and also like have the difficult discussions with them. So yeah, of course, and she has been doing great. So yeah, I think she's doing really well in also now in the US national team. So yeah, she's a really good leader, I would say.
Well, obviously, I don't know her. I've never played under her, but I think that is, the point of being a great coach is being a great leader and knowing, like you said, not just tactics, but how to create that culture, how to, bring everyone on the same page and bring the best out of everyone and feel everyone important. That everyone feels important, no matter if you are constant starter or if you just get to play, like you said, against worse teams.
Exactly.
So I think that's what makes the environment successful, and teams successful. This is why she is a winner.
Yeah, definitely.
She won so much with Chelsea, and like you said, I think she's doing good with the U.S. national team right now as well. So I feel like you're lucky that you had that experience with her.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that because, as you said, like there are bad coaches and good coaches, and like it was fun to experience like one of the best coaches and to see how she's like behaving in different situations. So yeah, that was a good experience, definitely.
After that, you went to France and then Italy.
Yes.
2 very different cultures. When you obviously, even Scandinavia and England, 2 different things. But I feel like France and Italy, that's completely different.
I agree.
How did first of all, why did you leave Chelsea? How did France happen and experience there?
Yeah. No, first of all, because my second season in Chelsea, I got injured in the 3rd game of the season, and I was out for 5 months.
Oof.
Yeah, quite a long injury. And then I came back, was back for maybe 2-3 weeks, and then Corona came. So the season got cancelled. So then I was like, what am I going to do? Because Chelsea also signed Sam Kerr at that point, and I was still a forward at that time. So I was like, oh my God, how am I going to compete with her now? And I felt like, I need to play like more. So then, Montpellier came into the picture, and I still had 1 more year of my contract with Chelsea, but then yeah, that came into the picture, and I was like, okay, let's try something new. So it was quite spontaneous, actually. I was just home at Åland during the lockdown, and I was like, okay, let's go. Let's try something new.
Were you there when Shko was there?
Yeah, we played together.
Oh, okay.
We came at the same time, actually, so it was quite funny.
So you both had a shock.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So neither one of us spoke any French at that point. So yeah, it was, yeah, it took a while to get used to that, I would say. But yeah, it was fun to have her at the same time there.
I think it's very important to have another international for
definitely.
going through the same experience, because
Yeah.
I feel like no one else can really understand
No.
how it is.
Exactly. But we had many foreigners in Montpellier at that time, but I think it was only me, Sko, and one other girl that didn't speak any French. And all the others at least understood some French. So that was definitely my biggest challenge there, the language. Because, yeah, I feel like here in Italy now, like people at least, I think people are better in English than they were in France. And at least more willing to try to speak English, because there it was just, I think they told me that I came in July and they were like, in September no one is allowed to speak English during practice. And I was like, okay, how is this gonna go? I had never like studied any French in school, so I was like, okay, then I have to be quiet.
Well,
Yeah, but it wasn't that bad. But that's what they told someone like in the beginning, and I was like, oh, this might be a challenge for me.
and I mean, French is one of the hardest languages to
it
learn.
is,
Also,
definitely, like the pronunciation and everything is so different. So, yeah. So I learned a bit, but yeah, I think it's a really difficult language to learn if you don't have any if you haven't had it in school or something before you move there. So it's really difficult. I think it probably takes a few years, and I was only there for 1 year. So yeah.
So how do you? Obviously, you were going from one culture to the next to the next. How do you navigate? How do you adapt so that you don't literally have a mental breakdown?
No, I think like in the beginning in France, I was like, oh my God, this is so nice, because like Montpellier is close to the beach, like quite close to Nice and everything. So the summer was so nice, like July and August. But because I don't know, I've always liked to do stuff like outside the field also. So it was so nice to just go to different places and stuff like that. But then it was a lockdown again in France. And I just felt like, what am I doing with my life? Like I was just home in my apartment. Like you were only allowed to go out, I think, 1 hour a day, 1 kilometer from your house. And you had to like fill in a form online. Like now I'm going out at this time. And if you were out longer than 1 hour and the police caught you, you had to pay. Like, so I was like, this sucks. Like, because I always had to go with like Google Maps. Like, okay, now I'm 950 meters from my house. Now I need to walk back. So I was like, no, like, what am I doing? We were allowed to go to training at least, so that was fine. But otherwise, I was just home alone. And yeah, I don't know. And in Sweden, people were living quite normally, actually. Everything was quite open there. So then I was like, maybe it's time to go back to Sweden now. I was missing it a little bit, actually. So I was like, okay, let's try to see if it's possible to go back. So then after 1 year, I had the opportunity to go back to Sweden. So that felt like the right step at that point.
Yeah, I remember whenever I was in AC Milan and it was locked down here, everything was closed.
Yeah.
I was so lucky because I had a national team. And then right after the national team, everything was closed. So I stayed at home.
Oh, that's perfect.
And I was able to, go outside. But here, I remember girls who stayed here, they literally couldn't go anywhere.
No.
They couldn't leave the apartment.
No.
So I was very lucky, and I can't even imagine how it would be for me. I remember they had trainings over the Zoom.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah, I feel like I've almost forgotten that time, but it was so crazy when you think about it. So I was also lucky, like the first kind of wave of Corona, I was going home from England. But then that was like kind of the second year. So it wasn't as bad, the lockdown, but still bad. I think like, of course I want to move freely, like outside. So
yeah,
still hard.
knowing you, you're like Nora, my other Finnish friend, very outgoing, very
Exactly.
like on the go all the time.
Yeah,
so I can't
exactly.
even imagine how you felt.
No, exactly. That's how I would also describe myself, that I like to do stuff like all the time. And I feel like I get bored if I'm just at home, and yeah. So it was quite difficult. And then I could see like my friends in Sweden were living almost normally, and I was like, no, I can't
need
do
to go
this.
home.
Yeah, I can't do this anymore.
I'm coming.
Exactly. So then I was leaving after 1 year France, and went back to Sweden then and stayed there for 3.5 years almost. Yeah. Oh my God, so long. Yeah, 3.5 years. Yeah.
You already mentioned some of it. What would you say were some of the biggest challenges or obstacles that you had to face before you signed a professional contract and then during your professional career?
Yeah, definitely. Like my injuries, I've had quite many, I would say. Actually, my first big injury was when I was 15. Like, I broke my foot, and like it was so bad. Like my ankle was in like 90 degrees, and the doctors were like, "Okay, you're never gonna play football again."
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Did you have a surgery or?
Yeah, I had a surgery. So at a normal hospital, and my mom and dad, they were like, "Oh, she wants to be a professional footballer. Like, you need to get the best surgeon or whatever you call it to her." So then I got the best one. And if you read like I don't know what you call it, but surgery, like operation, that when they write about the surgery,
like the medical report.
Yeah. So then it was like, oh, they had to like puzzle my bone together because it was in so many pieces, like my foot. So
But what happened?
It was just at a training, and no one really knows. I was driving the ball, and then suddenly, like, I passed one player, and then suddenly I fell, and I don't know if I got stuck or if she kicked me. But then I just could see my foot when I was like flying in the air, and it was in 90 degrees, like the ankle. Yeah, so it was crazy. So yeah, I think I was just lucky to be able to play after that injury. So that was a big one, of course. And then I've had quite many like big ones after, like mostly like muscle injuries. But then it can be like, oh, I'm out for 5 months because this tendon broke or something. And then 2023, like it was my last year in Hammarby in Sweden. I almost had the same injury as I had when I was 15 on my other ankle, but not as bad. But then I had quite many complications with that also. So I was out again for 1 year with that. And then it was also difficult because my contract was ending with Hammarby. I got injured in September, and then my contract was like finishing in December. And then they decided to not extend my contract when I was injured. And in Sweden, you have like this, that if players are injured, the clubs don't have to pay salary. Like, then you get the salary from another place, kind of an insurance or something. At least you get 80% if you have a contract. But then, so if they would just have extended my contract, I could have done my rehab, like, and get 80% of my salary. But they didn't extend it. So I was like, oh my God, who is going to help me with my rehab now? I'm like without the club with a long-term injury. So then I was for a few months like, what am I going to do?
Did you go home?
No, I was still in Stockholm because, it kind of feels like home for me also. So I was still there, and then I started training a little bit with like another club there in Stockholm, Brommapojkarna. But they don't have so much money. So then I had to start working also outside of football with another job to be able to play.
What did you do?
I'm still working at it, but I'm at the Swedish Football Federation. I'm like an IT project manager there.
Okay.
So I'm doing it like part-time now, still from here actually. So yeah, I started it like, now it's a little bit over 1 year ago. So I was, it worked out quite well, like, but of course it was a big challenge, like to not have a club, no one supporting you, and I had to do my rehab alone, kind of, and I was like, okay, at least I've done this before. What did I do 13 years ago? And
wait, you did it on your own?
A little bit, yeah, because I had one physio that was helping a little bit, but then, quite much I had to do alone also. So it was a bit challenging, actually.
I'm assuming, mental health now these days, you can hear a lot about mental health. It used to not be that used to not be the case.
Yeah.
How did you deal with all of that mentally? Do you have like a psychologist, like the therapist?
I actually spoke a little bit to one friend. She was studying actually mental coaching at that time, so I was talking a little bit to her about it at the time. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know that when I've got older, I've learned to deal with some issues a little bit better and maybe not take everything so hard. And I think that's also because I've always been studying like outside of football. I think, yeah, for me, it's always been important to do something else also. So maybe that also helped me a little bit, that I felt like, okay, at least I have something else. And maybe that this is now a good opportunity to get good at something else. Yeah, at that difficult time to have something else to think about. But yeah, of course it was really mentally challenging to. I didn't have a clue. Like, okay, who wants a long term, like in a player with a long term injury? Like it's, yeah, and also like I'm not so young anymore, so it wasn't like that easy to find a new club at that point. So
Have you ever thought about quitting?
yeah, of course. Yeah, it has crossed my mind many times. Yeah, probably during the last few years. But then I always feel like, oh, it's so fun to play still. But so then I've always been like, okay, let's try again. But yeah, it's been difficult since, now it's like, it's almost 2 years ago since I got injured. So of course, these last 2 years hasn't been like easy or great, but yeah, I still feel like it's fun to play, and I want to do it as long as possible. We'll see. Yeah.
It's crazy because obviously on one side, I feel like we all face these things. On one side, you have something that you absolutely love, that it's your dream job, but on the other side, you face so many challenges.
Yeah, definitely.
That are shitty.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, pulling you towards both of the directions.
Yeah.
It crossed my mind also.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an injury, thank God. But I've had some very difficult moments during my career when I was like, is it worth it? Do I still want to do that? So, but yeah, on the end of the day, you always come back to, obviously that's my passion. That's something that I absolutely love. I get to be paid for something that I would do without being paid for.
Exactly.
And this is how we all started. Like you said,
exactly.
Girls were paid, but not great salaries.
Exactly.
And in most of the cases, even though women's football is going like this, in most of the cases, that's still the case.
Yeah.
We don't earn, I don't know how much.
Exactly. No, that's definitely the case. And I feel like also, you can't play for so long. So at least try to enjoy it as long as you can. Like, kind of like.
And the older you get, the more you start to enjoy it.
Exactly. And I also feel like I have got better at not taking everything so serious. Like, and a setback is just, okay, then I will get over this. Like, I've had worse setbacks during my career. So it's, I feel like that's so much easier now when I'm older. Like before, I could be so like sad and disappointed if I played bad one game, but now I'm like, of course I'm disappointed, but then I'm like, okay, like new training tomorrow or whatever, let's go.
It's not the end of the world.
No, definitely not. And I think that's also so nice to be able to like take it a little bit more relaxed when I'm older and not take everything so seriously. So
no, yeah, definitely. Still, it is a passion. Is something obviously we all want to play.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you definitely start to see everything from a different perspective. Yeah. And you're like, okay, I'm just gonna go. Like my goal right now is I'm just going to enjoy every single minute on the field that I get.
Yeah. That's good.
And it's so liberating because before you're like, oh, I need to improve. I need to play. Exactly. I need to. Yeah, obviously we all want to play.
Exactly.
So, it's definitely a lot freer if you look from that perspective.
Agree.
National team.
Yes.
You are. I feel like Finnish national team is a little bit of a reference for my national team as well because. You, like you said on the beginning, it's not the biggest football country. And even though the country is huge, you don't have that many people. but you're very successful. You've been on many Euros so far, and yeah, I feel like it's something that we are definitely looking at when it comes to the Slovenian national team. What does it mean for you to play for the national team? How was it going to Euros?
Yeah, of course it means a lot. Like it's a big honor always to get selected for the national team, and now I've been a part of it for many years. I was out for a while now when I was injured, and I didn't know if I was ever gonna get back actually, but then suddenly the call up came again, so it was really fun, and it actually came straight to the last qualifying game to the Euros. I just came straight to the party.
Well, never mind. You qualify, I'll come after.
Exactly. So after 1.5 years out, I just came and was there for one game, and then we qualified. And now I've been part of it again after that. So of course it would be so fun to get selected for the squad for the Euros. But we will see what will happen. But of course that's my goal. Even though I've done it before, but it's always such a nice experience to play in a championship and everything, like the atmosphere around it. And I feel like it's getting bigger all the time and more spectators. And so, yeah, it's of course, I hope that's still my hope to get selected for that squad.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I can't even imagine. I've never been on a big tournament. I hope that I'm going to get to go at some point, but I can't even imagine that, how everything could be. From the inside, obviously we all see it, on the TV now, and or if you go to the stadium, but being in it and playing, it has to be a incredible experience. So I really wish that you get to experience that this summer again.
Yeah, thanks.
Whenever I was in AC Milan, I had, my teammate was Nora Herum. And at that point, I remember she was talking about you negotiating for equal pay with the men's team.
Yeah.
I feel like you were very early when it comes to that point, because, I mean, we just lately did that, and all the talk about equal pay and all that. Like, it's just, I feel like that's very recent still. How did that go? How did you get to the point? Was it hard? Did you face any resistance?
I feel like in Finland, I feel like it's quite important in Finland, like overall, that things should be quite equal. So I felt like there was quite much support, like from the beginning. Okay, like, yeah, if they, like, what's the difference kind of between the male and, okay, of course, maybe they have more spectators, but how are we like gonna get more spectators if we don't get like the support we need also? So I felt like we got the support, quite early. And as you said, I think we were one of the first, like, probably someone was before us, but one of the first teams to do that. So yeah, like, I think it's really great that we could have it so early, and probably also like, I don't know, pave the way, or like for other countries to be like, because I feel like you need someone to do it first, and then you can always follow. So yeah, I think that's really good, and that's how it should be. Like, when it's the national team, I think it should be equal, definitely, between the men and the women.
Yeah, a lot of times I feel like we're looking from a completely wrong perspective, or at least people in charge are, they tell you, first qualify for the big tournament, first bring people into the stands, and then we're going to support you, then we're going to pay you more. No, like,
exactly.
You have to invest first, and then the results will come. But yeah, thank God you are from Scandinavia, and people there are a lot different, I feel like, when it comes to that perspective, like, just like you said, equal pay, men, women. And yeah, it definitely serves for every single other country, to see that that's possible. They did it, now we can also go and do it.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you for that fight. It made it easier for us as well.
No, but I think it's so important. Like, it should be like that for every country, I think. So it's good that someone is doing it first, and then everyone can just follow after, I think.
Yeah, and when it comes to the women's football, yes, we are, now we're teammates, but in many cases, we're opponents. But on the end of the day, we're all working for the one team, and this is women's football, and helping each other grow.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it's great, and it's definitely a huge movement that just started. I feel like we just started going.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I was 10 years younger. But still, it has got so much better. Also, if you think like 10 years back, like before our time. So yeah, it's definitely going in the right direction all the time. And
Yeah.
now I feel like it's going like in a fast pace forward. So that's really fun actually to
Yeah, I mean,
see that.
it's number one, like the fastest growing sport in the
Yeah.
world. And whenever you said, I wish I would be 10 years younger, that's what I used to say.
Yeah.
And sometimes it still crosses my mind.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I feel like I lived, I experienced everything.
Yeah.
From literally zero, not being paid at all, to now, girls having decent lives.
Exactly.
And I'm honored that I paved that way and that I was
Yeah.
part of that movement. I still am part of that movement. I mean, this whole thing is part of that movement. So I think it's great to be part of that, even though maybe we're not 18 anymore and we're not gonna play in the best era of women's football.
Exactly.
So we spoke about national team. Can you talk about the league? How is the league in Finland? Is that growing with the same speed as the national team, or is this still behind? How is the league in Finland when it comes to women's football?
I think it's also going forward. There are some teams that are actually investing a little bit more, like for example HJK. I think they have now like some investors also, so they are having some a little bit more money for the women's team. But of course, it's still so many teams that doesn't have any money, and yeah, almost all. And I also feel like that's the problem. Like many girls are, if they are not going abroad, they are quitting quite at a still young age, because if you don't get money, then you probably want to maybe study and play, but then you have to start working, and it's really hard to combine, of course, working and playing. So yeah, there's still a lot to do, I would say, definitely. Yeah, money wise, and investing in the Finnish in the women's league in Finland.
So league is not professional.
No, like I feel like maybe 2 or 3 teams are paying okay salaries, but still I feel like, yeah, you can't save that much money. But I think like the players can only play if they want to in some of the clubs,
Okay.
but not great. So no, it's not professional, unfortunately. So I really hope that it's gonna happen. But it's really difficult. Like and also if you look at the big European clubs, like they usually have the men's side with them and a lot of money, and also the male clubs in Finland, like they don't have so many spectators, for example. So it's not that much money like in the men's football either, unfortunately, in Finland. So it's really difficult. I feel like maybe there the step would be to have like separate investors, like for the women's team.
For the women's.
Maybe to really separate them.
Something like is happening
Exactly.
at Como.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that could be successful actually in that country. But because I mean, like our national team, women's national team, are doing good. So I think people at least start to know the best players in Finland and the best women's players. So I feel like that could be as successful as investing in a male team like in Finland.
It definitely is the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And
So
a lot of people are already recognizing that. So I think that now is the time to jump on the train. Otherwise, it's going to be too late.
yeah, I agree.
Because it's already happening.
Yeah, so I really hope it's gonna start happening also in more clubs in Finland. That would be so great actually, because now I've always felt like, oh, I don't want to move back to Finland to play like ever. But maybe if there would be some clubs that would actually start to invest, then that could actually be a nice step at some point to move back there.
To finish the career there.
Yeah, exactly.
On that note, obviously you played for top teams, Euros. What is left? What are your dreams that are still here in football?
Oh, difficult. Like as you also said, like I want to enjoy playing like as much as possible. I hope to get selected for the Euros. That would be really nice to play. And yeah, there's a World Cup coming up in, I think it's 2 years. So I don't think it's impossible for Finland to get there. And yeah, like it's still so far away, but of course that could always be a dream, like something to at least dream for, and then you never know what happens on the way. But yeah, otherwise, I don't know, like it would be really nice to get 100 caps for Finland. That's something.
How many do you have now?
I think it's 93 or something.
Oh, you're close.
Yeah, I've been so close for so many years, but then I've been out for so many years. So, but yeah, that would be really cool also. Otherwise, on club level, I don't really know. Like, just enjoy playing without injuries. Like, feel that I get back to my best again and like in shape, and yeah, something like that, I would say.
Well, I really wish for you for that all of that to happen.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, last question. What would you say to someone who is afraid to have a dream, or if the person has a dream, afraid to pursue those dreams?
I would just say that it's easy to say, but just go for it. Like probably the worst thing that will happen is that, okay, it didn't work out. At least I tried and I believed in it. Like I think, as I said in the beginning, like I wanted to be a professional football player, like as a kid, even though I didn't even know if it was possible for women. So just believe in it and try to go for it. And then, if you don't succeed, like it's not the end of the world, kind of.
At least you know you tried.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Definitely.
You gave everything.
And then there's always some other opportunities if it doesn't work out, kind of.
True.
Yeah.
Well, Ade, before I let you go, I have something for you.
Okay, nice.
We have someone who's supporting the podcast. I'm very grateful. As actually, I've been using that product for many years now, and it's Go for Goal. They're grip socks. Nice. I don't know if you are using any grip socks. I really like those, and I'm very grateful for their support. So they gave 2 different packs for you.
Nice, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, yeah, thank you for coming, and I really hope that you come back to your best self as soon as possible, and you continue to enjoy football as long as possible, and obviously go to Euros.
Thanks, I hope so too.
Well, thank you, Ade.
Thanks.